What if I told you that a Roman emperor, nearly 2 millennia ago, held the key to unlocking a life of meaning, purpose, and unshakable tranquility? Not through divine revelation or esoteric magic, but through the sheer power of his own mind. Are you tired of the endless noise of the modern world? The constant pressure to be more, do more, and have more? Do you yearn for a sense of inner peace that no material possession can provide? Imagine a man who commanded the most powerful empire on earth, yet found his greatest solace not in the trappings of power, but in the quiet contemplation of his own thoughts. A man who, in the midst of war, plague, and personal tragedy, penned a series of personal reflections that would become a timeless guide to living a good life. This man was Marcus Aurelius, and today we explore how he solved the universe. Welcome, seekers of wisdom, to a journey into the mind of a philosopher king, a man who, amidst the chaos of a crumbling empire, discovered a universe within himself. A universe governed not by the whims of fate, but by the unwavering principles of reason, virtue, and acceptance. We often think of the universe as an external entity, a vast and mysterious expanse of stars and galaxies that we can only observe from afar. But Marcus Aurelius, the last of the 5 good emperors of Rome, understood that the true universe, the one that truly matters, is the one that resides within each and every one of us, our inner cosmos, our mind. He believed that by understanding and mastering our inner universe, we could achieve a state of eudaimonia, a Greek term that is often translated as happiness, but which more accurately means human flourishing. It is a state of being in which we are living in accordance with our true nature, a state of profound contentment and fulfillment that is independent of external circumstances. But how did he solve this inner universe? What were the principles that guided him? His meditations, a collection of his personal writings, offer us a roadmap, a series of practical exercises and philosophical reflections that can help us navigate the complexities of our own lives. One of the cornerstones of his philosophy was the idea of the dichotomy of control, the understanding that some things are within our control and some things are not. We have control over our own thoughts, our own judgments, and our own actions. But we have no control over external events, the opinions of others, or our own mortality. This may seem like a simple concept, but its implications are profound. It means that we should focus our energy on the things we can control and accept the things we cannot with a sense of equanimity. It means that we should not waste our precious time and energy worrying about things that are beyond our power to change. This brings me to our first story of reflection for modern life, a story I call The Architect of Serenity. Once, there was a young architect named Leo, a man of immense talent and ambition. He poured his heart and soul into his work, designing innovative and beautiful buildings that pushed the boundaries of his field. But he was also a man who was constantly at the mercy of his own emotions. If a client praised his work, he was on top of the world. But if they criticized it, he would be plunged into a state of despair. He was a slave to the opinions of others, his sense of self-worth rising and falling with each new piece of feedback. He was, in essence, a man who had not yet learned the dichotomy of control. One day, he was given the opportunity of a lifetime to design a new museum of modern art in the heart of his city. It was a project that could make his career, and he threw himself into it with a feverish intensity. He worked day and night, sketching, modeling, and refining his design. But the project was fraught with challenges. The budget was tight, the timeline was demanding, and the city council was notoriously difficult to please. Leo found himself in a constant state of anxiety, his mind a whirlwind of worries and what-ifs. He was so consumed by the things he couldn't control, the opinions of the council members, the fluctuations in the cost of materials, the possibility of unforeseen delays, that he was unable to focus on the one thing he could control: quality of his own work. His health began to suffer. He wasn't sleeping, he was barely eating, and his relationships with his loved ones were strained. He was on the verge of a breakdown, his dream project turning into a living nightmare. One evening, in a moment of desperation, he stumbled upon a copy of Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. He began to read, and as he did, he felt a sense of calm wash over him. The words of the ancient emperor seemed to speak directly to his own predicament. He read about the dichotomy of control, and for the first time, he understood the source of his own suffering. He had been trying to control the uncontrollable, and in doing so, he had surrendered his own inner peace. He made a decision then and there to change his approach. He would focus on what he could control: his own effort, his own creativity, and his own commitment to excellence. He would do the best work he was capable of, and he would let go of the rest. He started to practice the Stoic art of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. He would imagine all the things that could go wrong with the project: the council rejecting his design, the budget being cut, the construction being delayed, and he would accept them as possibilities. He would not be surprised or devastated if they came to pass, because he had already prepared himself for them. This practice did not make him a pessimist. On the contrary, it made him a more resilient and effective architect. By accepting the possibility of failure, he was freed from the fear of it. He was able to approach his work with a newfound sense of clarity and purpose. In the end, the museum was a triumph. His design was hailed as a masterpiece, and he was lauded as one of the most brilliant architects of his generation. But for Leo, the true victory was not the accolades or the recognition. It was the inner peace he had found along the way. He had learned to be the architect, not just of buildings, but of his own serenity. This story of Leo is a powerful illustration of the transformative power of Stoic philosophy. It shows us that by embracing the dichotomy of control, we can free ourselves from the tyranny of our own emotions and find a sense of tranquility that is unshakable. Now, let's turn to our second story for reflection, a story that explores the theme of our interconnectedness with the universe, a theme that was central to Marcus Aurelius' worldview. I call this one the Symphony of Existence. Meet Maya, a young astrophysicist who spent her days gazing at the stars. She was a woman of science, a woman of logic and reason. She understood the universe in terms of equations and theories, of cosmic dust and celestial mechanics. But for all her knowledge, she felt a profound sense of disconnection, a sense of being a mere spectator in the grand cosmic drama. She saw the universe as a cold and indifferent place, a vast and empty void in which humanity was but a fleeting and insignificant anomaly. She was, in a sense, a woman who had not yet learned to see the symphony of existence. One night, while working, late at the observatory, she had a breakthrough. She was analyzing the light from a distant galaxy, and she discovered something extraordinary, a pattern in the spectral lines that she had never seen before. It was a complex and beautiful pattern, a kind of cosmic music that seemed to sing of the interconnectedness of all things. In that moment, her perspective shifted. She realized that the universe was not a collection of separate and isolated objects, but a single, unified whole. A vast and intricate web of relationships in which every part was connected to every other part. She thought of the iron in her blood, forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago. She thought of the water in her body, once part of a comet that had traveled across the vastness of space. She thought of the air she breathed, shared by every living being on the planet. She was not a spectator in the cosmic drama. She was a part of it. She was a note in the symphony of existence, a thread in the tapestry of the cosmos. This realization filled her with a sense of awe and wonder, a sense of belonging that she had never experienced before. She was no longer a lonely observer in a cold and indifferent universe. She was a child of the cosmos, a citizen of the universe. This new perspective transformed not only her work, but her life. She started to see the world around her with new eyes. She saw the beauty in the smallest of things, a dewdrop on a blade of grass, the intricate patterns of a snowflake, the gentle rhythm of her own breath. She started to treat others with a newfound sense of compassion and empathy. She saw them not as separate individuals, but as fellow notes in the symphony of existence. She understood that we are all connected, that we are all part of the same cosmic family. Maya, the astrophysicist, had solved the universe in her own way. She had discovered that the key to a meaningful life is not to be found in the pursuit of individual achievement, but in the recognition of our interconnectedness with all things. The stories of Leo and Maya, though set in the modern world, echo the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. They remind us that the universe is not something to be conquered or controlled, but something to be understood and embraced. They show us that by cultivating our inner world, by focusing on what we can control, and by recognizing our interconnectedness with all things, we can find a sense of peace and fulfillment that is truly unshakable. Marcus Aurelius did not solve the universe in the sense of finding all the answers. Rather, he solved it in the sense of finding a way to live in harmony with it, a way to navigate its challenges with grace and resilience, a way to find meaning and purpose in the face of uncertainty. So, I invite you to embark on your own journey of discovery, to explore the universe within you, to read the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, not as a historical document, but as a practical guide to living a good life. And as you do, I encourage you to share your own stories of reflection, your own moments of insight and transformation. Let us create a community of modern-day Stoics, a community of individuals who are committed to living lives of virtue, reason, and tranquility. Thank you for joining us in this journey, and may you find your own way to solve the universe.